Everybody, come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Oh, good. There's some checking on things. I'm home this morning. Got a lot of things going on. I also went, actually, you'll see, I went to the home gym here to get a little healthy, try to stay healthy. And so a lot of things going on. And of course, the zoo is here. So you'll probably see the DOGs coming around. So let's start with the pledge, as we always should. And let's get the graphics up. For those that are new or are in from another nation that want to follow along, or here we go. Stand if you'd like. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you, everybody. Let me get that off. All right. And so I have this afternoon, I'll be recording a segment. You might have heard me talk about it yesterday, either on the radio or on the live stream, about how to get yourself together in the unit that can do something and accomplish it, right? I sink your roots, form your team, and get something done. It's time for action. And had a really great conversation with Steve Maxwell, I mentioned, from Polk County, Florida, who had great success yesterday in helping his school board stay strong in the face of the onslaught from the cultural Marxists. So he's going to be on the radio show later today. So if you are paying attention either on Facebook, you'll see me. I post the links to the radio show over on Twitter, the same thing, all the different Parler and Gab. So tune in there and make sure to share this with other people, by the way, if you're paying attention right now. And let's get the pledge off here and we'll put that up. That'll be fun. Steve Maxwell, really interesting, impressive organizer, a businessman who's organizing citizens, getting formed in a unit to influence folks. And I will fill you in on that. I think I'll do it on Monday. I'm going to talk to him on the radio show and hear from him exactly what he did, the pieces, not so much the success, but the pieces that he put together. However, I do want to come back on, and I had a discussion with John Schlafly. John Schlafly, who writes the weekly Schlafly Report, which is over at townhall.com and also available at phyllisschlafly.com. John Schlafly and his brother Andy continue to do this weekly column that Phyllis Schlafly started almost 50 years ago. She certainly was writing 50 years ago. Her column, I think, started running across the nation in the 1980s, the actual Schlafly Report column, the weekly column. But she was writing the Schlafly Report since 1967. Anyway, so John and Andy have kept this up the last 5 years or so very successfully. And the column that John Schlafly wrote about, which is very important, you talk about making the big deal, is the column focused on this. The media is trying so hard, the narrative machine, to make us believe that the election was perfect in 2020. Anybody that objects is an insurrectionist, or after Georgia passed, you're a racist if you support reform of the election system. And in Texas, it's working. The legislators down there are getting scared to do the right thing. They're all Republican, or they're largely Republican. The governor's Republican, and they're in the Texas. The problem, John Schlafly pointed out, is in Texas the legislature only meets once every other year. It only meets in the odd year. So this is 2021. Won't meet in 2022. So if they don't pass it now, they won't be able to pass any reform until after the next election. So, but my point here is, you talk about the big deal. Yesterday, Emmett Sullivan, the judge who so disgracefully handled himself in the Mike Flynn case, had a statement he put out on his in a ruling, keeping one of the January 6 folks in jail. And the reason that Judge Sullivan cited one of them was because there's this great fiction about the election in 2020 that there were problems, and that fiction was led by Donald Trump. Now, this is a federal judge saying this, right? I predicted this for a long time. They're going to try to make it so that you are told that that you cannot hold that position, but then they're going to have judges in courts who are going to say, well, that's a disgrace. That's a disgraceful position. That's a not discredited. Sorry, that's a discredited position. You can't have that. And if the legislature in a state passed a law based on the big lie, they call it, well, that's not appropriate. That's just suppression, and they're going to strike things down. You mark my words. So the big deal right now is to get legislators not only to pass election reform to increase voter confidence, but it's also to get to the bottom of what happened in 2020. And I'm privy to it. I talk to a lot of the people that are doing the analyses. I talk to the people that are out there looking at what's happening, Maricopa County, Michigan, all these places. There's a lot we haven't seen or heard about that needs to come out. Again, it's not going to overturn this election. I don't see a path where you could overturn the election. I just don't think that works. I think that's actually unhelpful. But what is necessary, if only to address the lack of voter confidence, is what happened. And that's the big deal. Because if we don't give the ammunition, the bolstering, the ballast for that argument, it will be rolled over by the narrative machine, which is big tech, big business, and big government. And they're doing it all the time. So that's what's at stake. That's the big deal. And more you're going to hear from me and others, I hope, but you're going to hear from me about the specifics we can do to get to the bottom of the elections, to get to the bottom of what happened, and to do things that will make us have more confidence in the system. Again, we're not trying to change an election. I'm not trying to change the election. There may be some people out there that want to change the election results now. It's too late. We have a system that did that. But I do want to not let it go and let us think that it was perfect. It wasn't perfect. There were lots of problems. And the lack of confidence in voters in the system is proof of the failure to address things right and do them well. So that's what's at stake. So tune in. I'm not sure yet I'm going to have him on, but I talked to Roger Stone. I may have Roger Stone on the radio show later today too. So you want to tune in. They're targeting him yet again. By the way, Roger Stone got in trouble. One of the reasons he got in trouble is they said he spoke publicly about ongoing matters in a court case, and they were worried that would influence the jury. I think that's what they said. Well, isn't that what Maxine Waters did? And there's no ramifications for her. Nobody's complaining about her on the left. So it's a double standard that's everywhere and all the time. So we'll see if we get Roger Stone on the radio today. But thanks for coming in here. Let's share this with everybody. Stay tuned. Be strong. Be excited. Don't worry. Don't let worry and fear seize you. Just sink your roots in, get your local team together, and find ways to make a difference. And trust me, there'll be some marching orders coming soon on things we can do together. So we'll talk then. Talk to you soon. I'll be back here on Monday, but I will be on social media before then. Talk to you then.